The Silent House. Chapter 1. Homecoming. I stepped onto the worn porch, my heart pounding in sync with the rhythmic creaking of the old wooden planks beneath my feet. It had been years since I'd set foot inside this place, since those days when life was simpler, before the silence between me and my father became thicker than the walls that enclosed us. The house loomed above me now, its once cheerful facade marred by an eerie stillness that sent a shiver down my spine. As the front door swung open with a groan, I couldn't help but wonder if time itself had forgotten about this place. Dusted curtains hung limp in the draft, whispering secrets only they knew. The air inside was heavy with memories both cherished and long forgotten. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. Shadows danced across the walls as I ventured deeper into the house, each step a journey through fragments of my childhood. Laughter echoing in empty rooms, late at night whispers hushed by thin partitions, and the faint scent of stale cigarettes clinging to every corner. My father's absence loomed like a specter, casting long shadows even after his passing. The sudden news had brought me back to Oakwood, to this house that now felt more like a stranger's than my own. His left it all to me, a legacy of dust and secrets. As I surveyed the living room, memories flooded back. My mother's warm smile as she sewed by the window, my father's distant hum from behind his newspaper. Now, there was only silence. As night began to fall, a chill crept in, making me shiver beneath my light jacket. A gust of wind rattled the windows like restless whispers, compelling me to move with caution through rooms that felt foreign. In the kitchen, I found an untouched dinner plate, the remnants of yesterday's meal congealed and cold. I recognized Dad's favorite tie lying nearby, the one he'd worn that day, the day he left us. My hand trembled as I picked it up, threads unraveling between my fingers. An unsettling feeling took hold. Someone had been here. I tried shaking it off, attributing it to loneliness playing tricks on me. But then came the knocking, soft and insistent at first, soon turning into a persistent banging that echoed through the house. Not quite a knock, but an insistent tapping against an unseen surface. My pulse quickened as I approached the source, an old oak desk in Dad's study. A faded journal lay open, pages fluttering in the breeze from the half that open window. On closer inspection, scrawled within were sentences that made my skin crawl. The truth is hidden beneath the floorboards. Find it before they do. Love and fear are indistinguishable. I recognized the handwriting. It was Dad's, erratic and hasty, as if penned in the dead of night. The tapping intensified, now sounding like urgent knocks. My curiosity warred with dread as I approached the floorboards, their creaks betraying a pattern that seemed almost intentional. A soft thump sounded from beneath my feet, then another, closer still. My hands turned clammy as I carefully lifted the boards. Beneath them lay an old wooden box, a relic of his amateur detective phase. I pried it open to find yellowed newspaper clippings and photographs, all dating back decades. A peculiar clipping caught my eye: mysterious disappearances in Oakwood. The article spoke of children vanishing without trace, their faces obscured by shadows. My father had been searching for answers. Now he was the one who remained elusive. Unnerved but determined to understand, I returned the box and shut the study door. In the kitchen, a glass clinked against ceramic in the dead of night. My gaze darted through the room, light pooling on the floorboards like an accusing finger. Shadows seemed to move across the walls, as if living things skittered within the corners. The knocking resumed, 3 taps followed by silence. I swallowed hard, knowing what I had to do. In the darkness outside my bedroom window, a shadow flickered. It was too late for moonlight tonight. Heart hammering in my ears, I pulled open the sash. A piece of paper drifted from above, fluttering down and settling with a soft thud on the floorboards. Curiosity drove me to retrieve it. It contained a single message scrawled in red ink. Run. Chapter 2. Secrets in the Attic. Dad's study was where memories melded with mystery as I delved into his secrets, piecing together fragments of clippings and photographs. It was then that an old diary caught my eye, its leather cover worn from years of neglect. Its pages were not Dad's, but someone else's. A young girl named Abigail, who'd lived here decades ago. Her entry spoke of children disappearing, eerie lights in the woods at night, and whispers whispering through walls when darkness fell. A shiver ran down my spine as I recalled similar occurrences during my own childhood. Then there were the names. Emily, Timmy, Sarah. Names familiar yet hidden within family lore. It was then that Abigail's writing turned erratic, speaking of a presence in the house, an entity watching from behind a mirror. I shut my eyes, recalling late that night tales spun around campfires. The legend of Malum dwelling here, drawn to innocence and fear. Malum, Latin for evil. I laughed at the absurdity, but couldn't shake the feeling that unseen eyes watched me now as I pored over her final entry. It's been a year since the last disappearance. Tonight was different. A child ran from the woods, knocking on our door. They wouldn't come in. In the mirror, it smiled at me. A sudden clatter shattered the quiet outside my room. Something had fallen from upstairs. I crept up to investigate and found a porcelain doll lying face up on the floor, its glassy eyes reflecting moonlight. It was then that I discovered the hidden compartment beneath my childhood bed. A small wooden box adorned with Abigail's name. Lifting the lid revealed more clippings, each detailing a child abducted in Oakwood. The last clipping held only 2 words in crimson ink. Find Dad. I pulled out the diary as the tapping resumed. In its pages, an entry read, "He knows where they are." Trembling, I opened my bedroom door to a dark corridor. Flickering light from beneath illuminated Abigail's room. A chill that had nothing to do with the autumn wind crept down my spine. Cautiously, I ascended the stairs. The diary thudded onto the floorboards as I entered. There on the wall stood an antique dresser with an open drawer containing a child's shoe, and within it, a note in Dad's handwriting. "If you seek answers, follow." A gust of wind carried an eerie whisper through the hallway. Run. In my room now, I held the diary. It was then that the mirror on my dresser caught my attention. A mirror that hadn't hung there when I left Oakwood all those years ago. Its glass reflected no moonlight, only myself with sunken eyes. A presence stirred behind me. An unspoken voice whispered, "Lila, run." Chapter 3. The Shadow in the Mirror. With every step down the stairs, the whispering grew louder. A chorus of children's names, urging me away from Malum. In the study, Abigail's room was empty save for another box, now open on the dresser. I found myself staring into the antique mirror. My reflection smiled back, not as I remembered it. Tendrils of darkness began to creep across my face and arms, spreading like a stain. The tapping at my bedroom door turned to banging. Knocking boomed through the house. In Abigail's room, that smile now adorned her dresser. On the floorboard, Another shoe joined its companion, and with it, my name scrawled in red ink. Lila. A gust swept by as if a child ran down those corridors, running from Malum. In my room, I stood before the mirror as reflections blurred and merged. Our faces were replaced with a shadow, coalescing into Abigail's smiling visage. Her eyes locked onto mine. Lila run. Out of time and options, I sprinted toward freedom, but froze at the front door. It slammed shut by unseen hands. Locked in, I turned back to face Malum. Shadows danced upon my skin as if embracing me. In the mirror's glassy surface, a little girl appeared, Abigail. She reached out, beckoning. Her reflection transformed into mine, eyes turned red and skin black as coal. A child's mule cut through the night. I knew then that we were running together away from Malum. The front door gave with a final thud, freeing us. In a burst of understanding, both our images merged in the mirror. We fled into night's embrace, hand in hand and heart pounding, knowing what lay ahead, freedom or damnation. As Abigail was about to tell me her secret, the wind took us beneath the floorboards, down hidden paths, and finally outside, where moonlight kissed my face as I broke through the attic hatch. The night air was filled with children's laughter and screams, a symphony of fear. Behind me loomed Malum, its visage black glass reflecting the horror it had wrought for so long. As we descended further into darkness, an old oak door materialized before us, the entrance to freedom or the abyss. My hand tightened around Abigail's as I contemplated our fate, run or face what lurked above. With one final look, we fled into the unknown together.